Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. Today we're talking about something that has been of interest to people for quite some time. When I first started this show, all the way back in April of 2023, already there were people who were extremely interested in the way that LLMs could generate code. Now, it would take a couple of years and some significant advances in the models to actually unleash vibe coding in the way that it happened over the course of 2025, but the idea was there very early. We've similarly had interest in vast teams of agents that can coordinate amongst themselves to accomplish more things, even if the capability set hasn't fully been there. Which isn't to say that people haven't been experimenting. Lindy released their AgentSwarm tool back in April of 2025, and the concept is related to something that I've talked about on this show, the Doctor Strange theory of AI agent work. Now, the specific point that I've made is actually about the difference in how enterprises think agents will play out versus how I think they will play out, with the difference being that I don't think that agents are going to be one-to-one replacements for existing human work. I think that we're going to be able to deploy lots and lots of agents to scenario and wargame different types of work, which, while not exactly the same as agent swarms, which are more about breaking down complex tasks into specific subtasks, is in some ways still part of the same larger conversation about how agents will actually work in the future. Over the last couple of days, we have started to get the first big model releases of 2026. And maybe the most significant so far is Moonshot's Kimi K2.5. While it is the AgentSwarm feature of K2.5 which has the most chatter, it's worth checking out the broader model as a whole. Artificial Analysis sums up the shift when they write, Moonshot's Kimi K2.5 is the new leading open weights model, now closer than ever to the frontier, with only OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google models ahead. And indeed, the benchmarks are impressive. K2.5, for example, claims 50.2 on humanity's last exam, which would put them ahead of GPT-5.2 running on high settings, Opus 4.5, and Gemini 3. On a variety of other benchmarks as well, they claim performance that matches or exceeds these premier Western models. On the overall Independent Artificial Analysis Index, Kimi jumps from 11th place overall with their K2 thinking model into 5th, only behind 2 iterations of GPT 5.2, Opus 4.5, and Gemini 3 Pro. And of course, the cost is cheaper than any of those models. In AA's tests, Kimi K2.5 was about 4 times cheaper than Opus 4.5 or GPT 5.2, but was still much more expensive than, for example, DeepSeek version 3.2. One of the things that Moonshot has emphasized in their launch is the model's native multimodality. Artificial Analysis again writes, Kimi K2.5 is the first flagship model from Moonshot to support image and video inputs. This is the first time that the leading open weights model has supported image input, removing a critical barrier to the adoption of open weights models compared to proprietary models from the frontier labs. They point out that this makes a significant difference as compared to other open weights leaders like DeepSeek's v3.2. Now, anytime we get a model out of China, of course, one aspect of the discourse is what it says for the state of the AI race. On that front, there were a number of people who took to Twitter/X to share examples of Kimi 2.5, claiming that it was Claude. Enrico from Big AGI says identity crisis or training set. Still, overall, even with some of the suspicion of distillation of Western models, the release of 2.5 certainly validates the recent arguments from people like Demis Hassabis that Chinese models are very, very close to the US when it comes to performance, if not yet having had an example of actually pushing the frontier. As Balazs Namethi points out, however, the real value in 2.5 is not, as he puts it, pure IQ dominance. It's about how it does in an actual work environment. He calls it less chatbot and more employee. And indeed, there are a couple things that stood out to me about the 2.5 announcement that are really impressive. One is the way that they're using this multimodal input capability in the context of coding. They show an example of taking a screen recording of a website, dumping it into Kimi and asking it to clone it, with Kimi shipping that code, including UX and interactions. If this actually works like that, it opens up a significant new frontier in AI coding that you have to imagine that everyone will race to copy very quickly. Another thing that Moonshot emphasized is how good 2.5 is at office skills, things like financial modeling in Excel or creating high-quality PowerPoints. Now again, this could be incredibly valuable when it comes to work, although I haven't really been able to find a ton of examples yet of people testing this out that don't just feel like paid influencer posts. One that I found that did seem to positively test out these features came from Shafi. He wrote, This new AI model, Kimi from China, created a full slide deck from my journal article in one single shot prompt. I just gave it the keyword and journal name, not even the link or PDF to the article. It searched the article and found the correct one, developed the contents after reading the paper, created contents for 12 slides, including searching images from internet, asked for suggestions to make edits, which I declined and asked it to go ahead, and generated slides in a PowerPoint format. Everything happened inside my phone in 5 to 6 minutes. Since it's my own article, I know it got most of the things right. And yet, as I said at the beginning, Probably the feature that people are most excited about is this AgentSwarm parallelization. An example that Kimi gave was adapting O. Henry's short story, The Gift of the Magi, into a 10-minute short film. They asked it to generate a highly consistent storyboard script and embed it into an Excel file, which they said from a single prompt created a 100-megabyte Excel file generated with images with a total of 55 scenes. Simon Willison writes, the self-directed AgentSwarm paradigm claim there means improved long-sequence tool calling and training on how to break down tasks for multiple agents to work on at once. He gave it the prompt, I want to build a dataset plugin that offers a UI to upload files to an S3 bucket and stores information about them in an SQLite table. Break this down into 10 tasks suitable for execution by parallel coding agents. He said the response was pretty good. It produced 10 realistic tasks and reasoned through the dependencies between them. Global Soul writes, tried Kimi Moonshot agent swarms and it is quite magical. Basically, they gave Kimi a list of stocks and asked it to create a report that analyzes each from a variety of different factors. They said it created individual files for each company, an overall summary, and finished the output for all companies in 10 minutes. Swix also had an interesting experience in his testing. He writes, little detail from exploring the K2.5 AgentSwarm preview today. I asked it to make a custom website for the Latent Space podcast, and despite it being trained to parallelize eagerly and having full permission to do so, it recognized that this was a noob task and did a highly competent job with one agent and refunded my credits. This thing might be AGI. I've never expected a parallel agent lab to use less than what it was trained or opted in to use. In other words, just because it could use a parallel agent structure, it recognized that for certain tasks it doesn't need that. Klein founder Saud Rizwan explains a little bit about what's going on in the background. He writes, LLMs are trained on sequential reasoning, breaking tasks down step by step, one to do after another. When you ask them to orchestrate parallel work, they don't know how to split tasks without conflicts. Moonshot calls this serial collapse and solved it with reinforcement learning. They used PARL, Parallel Agent Reinforcement Learning, where they gave an orchestrator a compute and time budget that made it impossible to complete tasks sequentially. It was forced to learn how to break tasks down into parallel work for subagents to succeed in the environment. Simon Smith from Click Health did a full test as well and came away pretty impressed. He writes, I've been thinking about the best way to organize agents in step-by-step workflows where each agent has skills defined by an agent skills file, and to then scale this across an enterprise. Today, Kimi dropped its K2.5 model along with agent swarms, and I thought, could this be it? The answer? Mostly. He then walks through how you do this. First, using Kimi, you actually use the model selector to select agent swarm in the same way that you would select between, for example, instant or thinking mode. For Simon's task, he gave AgentSwarm the task of responding to an RFP, which included, in his words, research, strategy, creative brainstorming, and concept development, media planning, analytics planning, high-level project planning, and consolidating everything into a final written response in a Word document. He continues, as would be familiar to users of agentic coding tools like Claude Code and Codex, Kimi turns your request into a step-by-step plan and then proceeds to work through it. Where things get interesting, however, is how it executes the plan with multiple agents. For each step in the plan, he writes, Kimi creates a set of relevant agents. And importantly, these aren't generic agents. Agents each have roles and names. Each agent, he writes, plays a specific role, defined for it in a prompt, and even gets a name and avatar. The role description ensures the agent focuses on a specific job to be done, and the name and avatar make this extremely user-friendly. The model is then smart enough to figure out which agents can work in parallel, or in the case that an agent requires the output of a different agent, how to run them sequentially. Simon writes that you can monitor agents overall via a dashboard with progress indicators, and also select individual agents to monitor their work. One of the important things that Simon points out is that part of the big upgrade here is not just the performance, but the user experience. He writes, when I think about something that would scale up to an enterprise, which will include a lot of users who won't be comfortable in something like Claude Code in the terminal, this feels like it would be easily adopted. It's extremely clear and intuitive. The model gave Simon both not only the final output, but also all of the intermediate outputs from each of the distinct agents. Now, Simon's big request and his caveat is that he wants access to connectors or MCPs as well as agent skills, to be able to fully sync this with the larger ecosystem of data that people work in. Overall, though, he says, I'm impressed. I've been waiting for something like this that makes it easy for anyone, regardless of technical expertise, to ask AI to do something and have it complete the task with multiple agents playing different roles and working collaboratively. This feels like the emerging future of humans managing teams of AI agents, the way they currently manage teams of other humans. I honestly don't understand how Kimi got here first. There are other solutions out there for agents to work together on tasks, but everything I've seen is too technical for the average user, requiring you to use the terminal, or too rigid, requiring you to pre-build workflows. How did Kimi create such a great model with such excellent agentic capabilities and build such an intuitive interface? Now, this is the interesting question. and why it makes me feel like we are very much seeing the beginning of a broader phenomenon around these agent swarms. In addition to K2.5, I've seen a couple people talking about Claude Code's new task system in this same context, and so it seems like something that's probably on the minds of those folks as well. LangChain developer Sidney Runkle is also talking about this sub-agents architecture, all of which makes me feel like 2026 might be the year of the agent swarm. Indeed, there's enough chatter that Ethan Malik is making one last, perhaps vainglorious attempt to steer us away from using the swarm terminology. On Monday, he tweeted, "Let's not call groups both terrifying and not a useful analogy. Groups of agents should be called teams or organizations. It both describes how to structure them and also how to use them. Don't let the weird AI folk naming win again." I'm not sure where we'll land when it comes to terminology, but it really does feel like this is something new happening, and I'm excited to see how it develops. I will be testing out K2.5. Maybe we'll do a special bonus operators episode about that. For now, however, that is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Appreciate you listening or watching, as always, and until next time, peace